Jimi. Excellent.
And be wrong.
Ode to Jimi. Ode to Hendrix.
Yeah.
Another Pacific Northwest alum.
This guy right there.
Oh, actually,
Right?
is that you? I never noticed you had it on the back.
Kiesel, if you are ever shopping for a guitar, you want a custom. That's a company based out of Escondido. Awesome guitars. So they didn't pay me to say that. I had to buy one.
You got a freebie on that
And
one.
it took me 4 months to get it because of fast order. How's it going, guys?
Good.
Good. Keeping warm up here in the Pacific Northwest. Just saying it's in the mid 30s.
Yeah.
It's sunny. So
Oh my God.
out and about this morning, but it's good to get the vitamin D. And dust has settled from CES, and now kind of just preparing for the next wave of stuff.
Yeah. I still owe you a couple of things, Pete. So I really apologize about that. There's so much stuff going on, but sometimes it's nice to put content out after the fact, after all the.
Oh yeah, no, it's there's no shortage of content out there.
Yeah.
We're still publishing talks from Taipei, from our Taipei event.
Yeah.
Every week we publish another tech talk because we had 2 days worth of talks there. So I think that stuff is like just keep it coming. There's always something new to learn. So something.
Yeah, well, we have the IoT Coffee Talk that we did there, so
that's true.
That's out. You finally liked it. But hey, everyone, welcome to IoT Coffee Talk. And remember, it is very dangerous to take us very seriously. In fact, it's even dangerous to take us slightly seriously. We're here just to have fun. And this is for semi-informational purposes or marginally informational purposes only.
Well, it is informational. It's what you do with the information that we do not want any responsibility with. But which is a lot of information.
Why we encourage people to take insurance out.
That's right.
Coffee Talk. Insurance policy.
Well,
with great power comes great responsibility, right?
Yes.
I really would have to know the insurance companies that will insure against us.
With great power comes great disclaimers. Yeah. So, again, you guys all know we're here just to have fun, share, and have a good time. And Rob is going to be joining us. Oh, no, his stupid AI is... No, I'm going to kick this guy out. What the hell, man?
Is that Rob AI?
Oh, damn it. Yeah.
Rob joined through his AI. Oh, there's one.
No.
That doesn't look like his AI.
Creepy.
Agent.
Wow. Weird AI out of here.
There we go.
Really?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Hey. Nice one.
Ooh, nice gear.
Got the gear. Woo-hoo.
Yeah. So, hey, I want to start off with this thing that I witnessed at the NAMM show. So I'm attending the NAMM show when I can, which is the National Association of Music Merchants. Mm-hmm. And I sat in a AI workshop that scared the living crap out of me. So you have this guy up on stage, and he goes into the Q&A, and somebody in the audience says, yeah, hey, I have a question. How do you put your... are you going to be talking about how you can put your credit card number or your bank account number and into ChatGPT so that it can agentically do stuff for you? The guy in the session before us told us that that's something that you can do. And I just want to find out if you're going to cover that in your workshop. And I almost just stood up and wanted to say, what the friggin' hell is wrong with you people? It was like, I was absolutely stunned. And then people around me were going, yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, let's do it.
Clue. Any of this stuff.
But your reaction was the wrong one, Leonard. You should have added, hey, don't forget to put the pin.
That's right.
Unfriggin'
and your fingerprints too. Your fingerprints.
Yeah, fingerprints in there.
If it's a
fingerprints your retinal.
Let's be accurate, people. If it's a debit card, put the pin, and if it's not, make sure there's a clear picture of your face.
Yes, please.
Yeah, this is what people are doing outside of the bubble, and this is why prompt engineers, these so-called, they are not AI pros, people. They have no effing idea what they're doing. And when they go to these industry events and they get up on stage and say whatever kind of crap that they're putting out there because they're tinkering with chatbots, that is not AI. And you can do seriously dangerous listening to these guys. And this is the problem with enterprises that rely on these so-called prompt engineer guys. Be very careful. These guys are, I will say, are a friggin' joke. And they're very dangerous. I could not believe what I was hearing. It was like, I saw the end of humanity, guys. I mean, like friggin' idiocracy on like friggin'.
We have met the enemy, and he is us.
But on the bright side of things, though, Pete, I wanted to say, man, you guys might want to show up. Edge AI Foundation might want to show up here because, they're tinkering around with like Edge AI. So microcontrollers, analog devices is there.
Yeah, ADI.
Interestingly, Apple is there. Qualcomm was there last year, and I think they need to come back because there is a tinkerer community there that's now messing around with generative AI for like instruments.
Yeah, well, like
what I'm saying?
accompaniment.
Well, no, not even that. For sounds to do like really, and this is something I'm going to delve into a little bit more when I go back tomorrow. But delving into these creative instruments that are part of the creative process. They don't generate the like the final song or whatever, but it's for novel sound generation, things like that. There's something really interesting going on.
We need to create a working group. We need a music working group in our region.
Yeah, and there's an organization called In Music. I'll send you some information. So that you're aware of what these guys are doing, what the community is doing. But there is like a friggin' maker community in the music industry that's tinkering with this stuff. Because, before there was this whole resurgence of the analog movement, right? Analog electronics. And this is kind of like an extension of that. So this is really interesting.
But there must have been a lot of things like I use like Beat Buddy and some of these pedals, that accompany you with, drum tracks, and they sort of listen to how you're playing. And I can imagine that there's a lot of interesting developments happening there where in a pedal, in a box, you could really get some pretty full accompaniment and kind of song generation, music generation. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's like I'm saying, it's a thing that kind of impressed me on the first day.
Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff.
And I have a question on that, on the music, Leonard, because there's one thing that I find very interesting as a geek is I think a couple of years ago I went to a show, and before the show started there was an artist doing some music, but the way she was doing the music was by using code. I think she used a platform called Strudel, so there is a standard to actually do music as code. So
Strudel?
Strudel, I think is the name, and it's based on Tidal something. There's a whole standard to actually code music, so you can play music with code. So have you seen this kind of stuff as well in this meeting?
Wow.
Not yet.
I got some trivia for our audience, though, and we'll see if anybody in the audience can guess the answer to this. I know you all know the answer. As far as sound generation, just creating special sounds, who out there knows how the original sound back in the 50s for the Godzilla movies, when it first came out, and the sound that Godzilla makes? Does anyone know how that sound was generated?
Yes, it was you. We know now.
When you were a baby.
Anyone? Anyone know?
Hold on. It was alligator.
Not an alligator.
I don't know that.
No.
I can guess, but
it's because obviously I've been a Godzilla fan since I was a kid.
Oh yeah.
Someone had imagine a door that you open and close, and there's the hinges, and it was squeaky hinges, and so they open the door and it goes, and then they slowed it down.
Oh no way!
Way down, and got the slow motion.
Oh,
wow.
And that is Godzilla's sound that he makes came from a squeaky hinge on a door opening, slowed way down.
Those are like the old time Foley artists. They call them Foley artists.
Sound
do all of the real time sound effects, with the travel, and all that stuff.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Legit OG analog humans doing it with door hinges.
Just hearing stuff.
Another really interesting example. I saw a TikTok thing because I'm a TikTok voyeur. I don't post everything much.
Didn't know that.
There's a short clip of David Gilmour explaining on the album the Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd. There is a song called On the Run when you have a. Yeah.
Do
you know how it's done?
How he developed that? Yeah.
It's actually 10 notes accelerated. So it's a piano playing. I mean, the synthesizer playing, but it's accelerated like 10 notes in 1 second. So it sounds like something purely digital sound effect. No, it's just regular notes played fast with a nice beat and sound. So it's very very fascinating. There's actually, I don't remember the name. There's also a great series on TikTok of guys that actually decompose the different songs and it explains the production.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that.
You see all the different
track by track.
Yeah,
how they do it.
Super interesting, actually. I don't remember the name of the guy, but it's super interesting.
There's a lot of shows and a lot of YouTube videos that do that. They do like isolation of various tracks. My favorite are the ones with Eddie Van Halen, of course.
So,
of course,
since you're more in the musician area than I am, so how do you get access to those masters? Are they publicly available after a certain period of time?
No.
It's inside access through.
Well, you have to use. That's where you use kind of signal processing to extract the tracks from each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then I would really like to know the name of those tools because some of the things I've seen, the qualities, it looks like the guy had the tape.
It's Qualcomm partners and Apple does as well. This company called Moisey.
Mm-hmm.
They've been featured at Snapdragon Summit for the last 2 years, and they're a big selling point for the MPU.
Mm-hmm.
So they do that
across all cycles.
In the DJ world, there was an initiative a few years ago where there was some processing, so they would isolate from the song the vocals, so you can actually do better mixing, and it's actually pretty impressive.
They did that with karaoke machines long time ago.
Extracting the vocals. There's a lot of AI. This is AI audio stuff. It's fascinating space. We actually have a working group now for AI audio. That's and actually that was a cool thing I saw a lot at CES, like the processing of audio signals to for speaking and we're isolating and all of this stuff is really revolutionary. And I think we're just scratching the surface on these use cases.
And these models are not extremely heavy, so this is
no, they're not. They're not. They're implanted in wearables. I'm actually using them in my AirPods probably. So
on that topic, the devil object that you hate, Pete, has arrived.
Yeah.
What is it?
Raspberry Pi with the AI on top of it.
Perfect.
It got in yesterday, and I was in Vegas this week, so I haven't played.
Just put your foundational model on that thing and go to town.
I'm going to play with it this weekend, hopefully.
Exactly.
Rob 1, Pete 0, Pete and Rick 0.
Foundation. It's the foundation of our whole society.
There it is, right there.
There it is.
Oh my God.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's nuts out there.
Sounds like the NAMM music world is hot. Did you guys see this announcement from Cerebras?
What are they doing?
They did a deal with OpenAI for like $10 billion for blah blah blah.
Where do they have
who?
Who paid who?
10 billion, 10 billion IOUs from Sam Altman.
Yeah, but 10 billion.
It's like I do an AC/DC, like a spin on the AC/DC song. Who made who?
Who made who? That's
Who
right.
paid who?
Who paid who?
But come on, it's 10 billion with OpenAI. This is pocket change. Come on.
Yeah.
No, it's nothing.
It's
Like, I'll pay you 10 billion, and then you pay someone else 10 billion, and then they'll pay me back the 10 billion I paid you.
Bingo.
We're all good. We're all good.
We're all good.
If you're doing that, while doing it with 10 billion, do it with 200. It's better.
Sure.
Well,
I think it's just interesting. There's obviously the transactional process there, but also the fact that some of these AI companies now are focusing more on specialized silicon beyond the GPU as a differentiator. So whether it's Grok or Cerberus or, I think that's kind of the hot space right now is like, how do we do more than just the plain old the brute force method? But
it's not even, they're all brute force. It's just that the architecture,
or specialized architecture.
GPU is the general purpose for all these large scale application specific requirements. It just is not that compelling, right? And people were saying, CUDA's gonna save stuff and NVIDIA and create this impenetrable moat. But the reality is, it's going the way of crypto. Everyone was using GPUs initially, searching for the optimal algorithm for mining Bitcoin. Right. And they found it and they created an ASIC, and then boom, all of a sudden, Jensen doesn't care about crypto anymore.
Right.
There you go. That's why I'm creating my own
here.
I'm creating my own specialized ASICs in my garage.
But that literally is like what Grok is. And then he talked about it when he was in Davos. And this does not fit his narrative from 2-3 years ago. Not at all. Or even from 8 months ago. He's turned like this, and people don't realize that. They really don't. They think that number one, they don't even know where we are with AI and what the AI landscape really is. And they haven't really tuned into the fact that there is a pivot going on. There is a big shift that's happening already. And people find out in about 12 months. And
do you know who those people
unless
are?
they watch the show, then they'll know now.
Yeah.
Well, there's many points on the show we can go back to and say, hey, look, we did so. Yeah. We sound stupid right now. But we're not going to sound stupid in a few months.
Yeah.
Don't be that hard on yourself.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, don't sell yourself short.
I'm
You're a tremendous slouch.
You don't want your epiphany to be, I sounded stupid all my life, but I was right.
Yeah. But when you think about the people who don't know, like you're worried about, are going to find out, that group of people is still the tiniest 0.0001% of the population. Most people are just trying to get a better place in line at the drive-thru at McDonald's, and hoping that their fries aren't soggy.
True.
Those are real people. Those are not us at all.
Yeah. No, but see, that's the scary thing.
I like my fries crispy, Rob.
Me too. Yeah.
That crowd listening to that prompt engineer guy is not us.
As a reminder,
people trying to buy French fries at McDonald's and feed their family.
Bring it back, because Pete's the leader with all this kind of stuff. Make sure when you go to In-N-Out Burger, you say you order your fries well,
not good.
That'll get them crispy.
Crisp them up.
That's right. Everybody talks about, the fries there where they peel them every morning and it's fresh, everything. But you know what? If they're not crisp, I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I also found out that Chick-fil-A, you can say extra, they have their waffle fries at Chick-fil-A, extra crispy. You say that, and all of a sudden, magic happens.
Secret menu.
It's a secret menu. The world's more focused on finding out secret menus than they are about ASICs or what kind of AI is going to end their life if they know it. Are enough people starting to kind of say what we talk about sometimes around, is all this AI stuff we're doing similar to species suicide or something like that?
I don't think people think that far.
Okay.
Because it's just
Yeah.
I was back to your point of are my fries crispy?
Yeah.
I was in Vegas this week because I work for a company that does aerial imaging right now, and we build digital twins of properties. So the use cases are in construction insurance. So I basically spent my week with people doing roofing. Look at the real stuff.
Yeah.
And actually, there is an appetite for technology beyond just the automation of the machinery, which is not the area I was looking for. But there's an appetite for technology in the area of CRM, lead generation. I'm doing this roof for this customer in this area. How do I get more customers?
Yeah.
One area. And the other area is what we do, which is more measurements. So I can actually prospect or do quotes without leaving my office because I'm just using imagery type of stuff.
Right.
And if I want to do a quote, I can super quickly do it because in the past you have to send a guy on the roof with a ruler. Now you can actually have all the dimension, and we also have data sets where you can actually do, give me an estimate of the age of this roof. What are the materials? Are there solar panels? All those kind of property data intelligence. And these are digital twins. Now we don't market that as digital twins to this audience because they don't necessarily have a great appetite for gizmo tech fancy words.
Right.
But, and in this area, there was mostly the AI message was mostly on the CRM system. I'm going to give you more leads and using AI, blah 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 blah. But it was not AI everywhere.
Right.
You go in the tech show. So as soon as you get into the reality, it obviously depends on the industries. But that was
interesting.
It's pretty refreshing. So
that's kind of cool. Property tech.
Yeah. It was actually interesting because you had a International Roofing Expo, you had Concrete World, you had SHOT Show, and you had AVN at the same time in Vegas. So pretty much, it was only needing a kind of a booze and food show, and you'll cover the whole essentials of humanity.
Absolutely, you've got all of humanity covered there. Everything that people want. I love it. That's hilarious.
I was joking with that on my Uber driver on the way back to the airport, and they were saying, "Oh yeah, it's just food and booze is missing. Otherwise, that would be the perfect week."
Exactly.
Imagine aliens coming in to Vegas this week and saying, "Construction, guns." Sex. Okay.
Bye bye. We're out of here. Oh my God.
And I think, and then I'm going to stop, so it's the Dimitri show, but I think I said that already on the show. My personal view on aliens has always been that if there is a civilization that is smart enough and has the tech to reach Earth, look at it, they're going to turn away.
It's like, bye-bye. Yeah.
We're going to 2,000 years to see if you're involved a little bit.
Exactly. But if we think about some of the other types of science fiction movies with aliens, there's all the other kind that are just going from planet to planet to use all the resources. And so those might say, well, we'll just kill all these people and then take their water and whatever else we want.
Yeah, but they're too late because I think one of the Musk's visions or the others is where we're going to have to go to other planets to find those resources. So we've already exhausted our own. So is that going to say, no, they burn everything, too much CO2.
Yeah, exactly. You polluted the water. We don't. Yeah, exactly. It's interesting though, and we probably talked about this before. You always hear like, okay, we'll go like Elon, we'll go colonize Mars. We need to be an interplanetary species to survive. Okay. There's that one problem, though, that we talk about how people really don't know the kind of stuff we talk about. People don't realize that if your planet does not have a magnetic field, you will not be able to live there. And Mars and many other planets do not have a magnetic field at all. And that the only way you get to have an atmosphere and you get to have a shield from radiation from the sun and all that is by having a magnetic field. Somehow magically we do. We theorize that there's an iron core at the core of our planet spinning somehow. We haven't actually seen it, but we figure that must be how we have a magnetic field.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Well, I don't know. I think there's a lot of, I would say that there's probably a lot of human aspiration or visions that are not necessarily backed by any science.
Oh, yeah.
So in this whole idea, I don't really know exactly. I mean, I agree with you. This whole theory that, and by the way, there's also rope. You and I, the little argument about that, regarding putting data center in space.
Yeah.
The cost of sending some shit up is still so high. Even if we divide it by 100. It's still impossible to do. So thinking that we are going to be able to send and export enough technology to be able to build technology there, to be able to change things. I mean, it is science fiction. So it is science fiction.
But you could send your new Raspberry Pi AI hat.
Yeah, it's true. But this is not going to create a magnetic field on Mars. Or if somebody finds a way to create a magnetic field on the planet in that box,
there we go. You never know. Better efficiency. I don't know.
That's the size of the market. So, but no, I think that to me, this kind of aspiration. There are only two ways for this kind of aspiration to conquer space. One is purely for research and science, and I admire that. I'm still fascinated by. I think Voyager is still flying and sending.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, and it doesn't have the kind of freaking GPU that is trying to sell us, right? So,
there's a lesson there, because we often talk about how is it possible that the peak of our science and our abilities happened already, like in the 60s maybe or something, or the 70s, because people complain we did all these amazing things back then and we haven't really done anything that monumental ever since.
We've only scaled, because the thing is the following. You can only have big changes when you have a better understanding of physics. And we had a better understanding of the physics with quantum physics in the beginning of the 19th century, and the 20s, 40s.
Yeah.
And this is what gave us the foundation so that we can build all the digital crap we have today. So then it was just scaling. So unless there is a new jump into our understanding of science, and the only plausible one to me when I think about it today is in DNA, in the way your life is programmed, basically.
Yeah.
If you make an extra jump on that, then there can be colossal implication on genetic manipulation, age reversing, all those kind of stuff. But aside from that, you could argue that, everything was invented before and now it's just scaling. So we do more and more and faster and cheaper and blah, but fundamentally it's still the same thing. So.
Right. Because you hear people all the time we put a man on the moon in 1969. We haven't done anything close to that ever since.
Yeah, totally. And because as I would say that anything close in a sense that it was not just the tech, but it was the motivation of a whole nation and the embracement by the public.
Yeah.
There hasn't been any event like that.
You're right.
Or any human artifact construction like that since then. So I have to refer to that. So the first point was research and the exploration. The second one, ego.
Ego, yeah.
We're humans. We think we're the best creation on the earth.
That's right. I'm going to climb Mount Everest, and now I'm going to go to the moon, and I'm going to go to Mars, and it's ego.
It's science or ego. So I think that's but on the other hand, I don't think there's any, or maybe I don't understand, but I don't think there's any valid argument of, I would say a practical or economical value to go and conquer new planets. I think we should do it for science. I have no question.
Yeah, for science.
I don't think that we necessarily need to send humans there, because we have enough automation systems to go learn a lot without that.
Yeah.
So we should.
If it's for science, or if we become the aliens that are going from planet to planet grabbing resources, because I could see that happening a little bit. There's two
scenarios for that. I think that I don't remember. I think it was one of the Superman movie, but one of the science fiction movie where actually we start digging deep down into our own Earth to go really deep into the core and get some more material. I think this scenario is much more likely because for a reason for cost. So we still have a lot of time before we find any meaningful way to go get some resources from another planet.
I hear a lot about, we think or we know that there's water at the south pole of the moon. And or frozen, and then if that's true, then they extrapolate. They go, good, because then we can get hydrogen, and then that can be a launch to build our hydrazine, that we use for rocket fuel, and then we can use that as the launching off point to other planets or something.
But I mean, I haven't looked at the probabilities, but the other point, as you said, of having a magnetic field that allows us to have an atmosphere, is that when you don't have any atmosphere, whatever you build, if there's a freaking meteorite that come around, even a little one, it's gonna break your freaking things. So we're gonna build those big plants that generate that, and tiny little rock that come from whatever.
Right.
I mean, look at the number of craters on the moon and on Mars.
Yeah.
So good luck building your data center and nuclear power plant on top of that and making it work for more than 20. I mean, so again, I've done the math, but I think that the probabilities are probably there to show you that there's a super risk. So what do you have to do? Put a dome on top of it? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, if you don't find planets who have the same kind of atmosphere like us that are protected and protect their own resources, if you even find them, how do you get there? Because when you approach the planet, that big ship that's going to go get the resources need to go through the atmosphere, and it's going to need a gigantic field. Imagine if you want to bring back 1 metric ton of lithium from a planet with an atmosphere. Getting there first with the ship to get it is a problem.
Right.
Then you have to send it back and receive it back. Because actually putting stuff in space is, now that I think about it, it is expensive, but it's not that hard. It's bringing the stuff back that is a problem.
Yeah, you're right.
You bring the stuff back. Now, if it's raw material, maybe you can just throw it and it will burn and then it will come down and cool down. But temperature has an effect on material if you know science.
That's true. So, the other thing I hear about, our friends at Blue Origin, their whole mission statement or whatever, their tagline is for the benefit of the earth. And their thinking is, Pete's coming in here. Hang on.
So Blue Origin, is that the Bezos thing?
Yeah. So Blue Origin, they're the ones that have been sending rockets up in West Texas with celebrities, people just to go for a ride. And then
this is not space. This is high altitude elevation.
No. I get it, but that was their stepping stone. But they built their larger rocket called New Glenn, and they've done a couple of launches, and they're sending something out for a deal to Mars. I know about them because I've spent time at their headquarters in Kent, Washington, and know some of their people. But their mission though is for the benefit of the Earth, and what they're thinking. One of the things they want to build is they call it an orbital reef. And basically, it's some kind of orbiting thing. What they say is, we should, how we talk about zoning laws for cities or whatever, this zone commercial, this zone residential. They're like, we need to zone the earth as residential and then build stuff off-world, either orbiting or on the moon or whatever, for heavy industry instead of doing heavy industry on the planet. And so that's kind of part of their plan, is building this orbital reef to try to do manufacturing in orbit.
Yeah. I mean, in theory, great idea, but I really would like to see the bean counter spreadsheet behind, because again, the cost of studying, as we just said, the cost of studying sugs up and the complexity back. I mean, how realistic is that?
Yeah, manufacturing is all based on cost. So,
because
it makes a lot of sense. I mean, outside of that framework, that's
before you rejoin, Pete, Rob and I we should probably talk about the space episode, but we were discussing that, it's okay, you send some stuff up, you have your factory, and you've built this 2 tons machine. How do you bring it back? How do you have
the finished goods?
how do you have a ship that is strong enough and resistant to heat enough to re-enter the atmosphere?
You need some kind of space shuttle or something.
Yeah, no, but the shuttle wouldn't do it because you see what happened with the space shuttle and the
That could land like an airplane and then take
what?
Yeah, but you remember the cost of that, the ties, the burn, and even what is the working load of that? It was what, like maybe a couple of cubic meters?
It was ahead of its time, but I don't know. I assume someone's going to figure out a low cost kind of payload.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot cheaper to send stuff to Earth than to get stuff out there, I bet. Because you just need to sort of shove. You just need to shove in the right direction until you sort of get into the atmosphere, and then it's a big parachute, and then someone scoots it out of the ocean. I guess.
Yeah.
Speaking as someone who knows absolutely nothing about this.
Yeah, well, it hits a lot when something.
Everyone in the comments that's actually an aerospace engineer can say
that's right.
Totally full of crap.
But you know what? Gosh, it starts with an idea, and you have the idea in your head, and you say it to yourself, you write it down, you tell people about it, and then Dimitri totally shoots it down.
Yeah, you get pilloried, totally pilloried.
Guys, I love ideas, but I like to see a reasonable science-based path.
Sure. Well, I'm sure so the issue maybe here is cost, but the idea of pushing out eminent domain, to a reef, we could even call it like Trump land. It's kind of a new.
That's how you're going to get the funding for it. Is if you call it Trump land.
It's a continent in space, specifically for mining and processing of precious metals.
I think we should probably make more like a very nice luxury hotel for all the.
That could be a section. That could be a section of the reef.
And send them
Fairmont, the Fairmont or section.
Yeah, exactly.
Or whatever.
And send them there with no way to return. But
well, but I've also heard. So we've talked about orbital reef, doing manufacturing in orbit. We've talked about the moon. Like we were saying earlier, they think there's ice on the south pole of the moon, and they'll melt that, and that's water, and then they can get hydrogen, which can be used for fuel for more rockets launching from the moon outward. Also, I've heard about startups or companies that want to mine asteroids.
Yeah. Isn't Bruce Willis involved in that?
Yeah, he was. He was
the
original to drill.
Bad ideas never die.
You know what?
But no, I think eventually you'll have like robotic probes that'll land on these asteroids, extract, precious minerals and whatever, and then shoot themselves into the atmosphere with their payloads, and they'll be scooped out of the ocean.
Yeah.
It might be 100 years from now, but
Yeah.
Whenever I'm sitting there ready to take off in my space shuttle, and I look over and I see Steve Buscemi, where he makes his comment about what it's like 13,000 or million moving parts, built by the lowest bidder. What could go wrong? Yeah.
That's what I feel like on Delta Airlines sometimes.
Ouch.
Like, this seatbelt doesn't work. What else doesn't work?
Doesn't work.
If you fly on McDonnell Douglas planes, yeah, definitely.
Ooh. I used to do a lot of that. That was dangerous. When my first year at Microsoft, I was traveling every week and to Dallas. And so therefore I was flying American, and American was still in love with the MD-80. Like, they still had a lot of those in the fleet, and they would not get rid of them. They were going to be like Blockbuster Video. We're just going to run this thing into the ground. And until, landing gears and all kinds of stuff started having problems. It's like, yeah. So I always felt weird getting on an MD-80 in modern times.
Although I heard the B-17, there's an article about how there's a new contract to change out the engines on the B-17. I mean, this thing is built so well, it's going to be 100-year lifespan on this plane. Well, I mean, it was built. The B-17s were originally in the 50s, I think.
Oh, you mean the B-52?
B-52s. I'm sorry,
okay,
the B-52s. Yeah.
Okay.
They're still, and there's a new contract to sort of retrofit some new engines onto them.
Wow.
So this thing's going to be out until like 2050 or whatever.
The thing that people usually don't know is that in aeronautics, the frames and the engines, there are two different paths in terms of innovation, and they are usually interchangeable. So this concept of retrofitting with new engines is actually fairly common and can be applied.
Yeah. It just shows that thing was built really well. It was built.
That's a great plane.
In the beginning, yeah. So.
And man, that thing has the biggest wingspan, and aren't the wings almost touching the ground when it's on the ground or something?
That's the U2. That was the high altitude plane.
That's different, yeah.
It's so heavy.
The MD-80 was not a bad plane. Probably the worst one that McDonald's did was the DC-10.
I remember the DC-10.
I remember the DC-10.
When I grew up portion of my teenage time in New Caledonia, French territory, and at that time the only airline I could fly there was a French airline called UTA, and they had only DC-10. And so I lived there for 4 years. So I was doing 1 or 2 trips per year to go see the family from Paris to New Caledonia. And that was when airplane had 6, 7, 8, 9 hours of flying time. So you would do Paris to Tehran to Bahrain to Nouméa, which was a 3 8 hours legs with 4 hours stops in the middle.
Jesus.
And I can tell you, because that was the time where the airport, there was a transit lounge where you had view on the runway with just a glass window. There was no security and bullshit. Yeah. So you could see the mechanics on the plane at every single stop.
Yeah.
And I think I never landed in Nouméa after that, 3 legs flight with the 3 engines running. There was always one running off. I had the landing gear burning because the runway was too hot. So when you're landing and you see the fire trucks following you on
not a good sign.
Not a good sign.
Yeah, when they're spraying foam on the runway as you're coming in, that's not a good sign.
The cherry on the cake to piece of Dimitri is one piece of a freaking DC-10 that was one of the major cause of the Concorde accident.
It was.
So,
our favorite airline who embraced the DC-10, Continental.
Yeah.
In the 70s, the DC-10, when it came out, though, before people knew that maybe it wasn't the best, it was heralded as this amazing new plane, wide body without being a giant 747. And I remember seeing commercials on TV for Continental Airlines, and they were talking up the fact that they had the DC-10 and that they had a pub. They had a little bar like you see on ads now for Emirates and things like that. But back in the 70s, Continental Airlines had that on DC-10. And I remember riding on one. I flew from Texas to Los Angeles. And they had remember the sit down video games, like where you're sitting next to each other and it's like you can have your drink on the table and play Pac-Man. They had those and the bar. And I was just like, this is the future. This is what aviation is all about, I don't know. It seemed like a good time.
Was it at the front or the back of the plane?
It was in the front.
Oh, you're lucky. Because, the biggest first floor of the DC-10 was the back door. The door at the back would jettison, and it will usually take with it, with depressurization, the 2 last row of the plane. There were a couple of accidents like that in the beginning, yeah.
So that's the same one like from World War Z when all the people started flying out when the zombies were inside the plane with Brad Pitt.
And I haven't seen this one.
Never mind. I don't know.
Who knows?
People get inspiration from all kinds of planes. So sometimes it's a back door that's blowing out,
Exactly.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, I'm sure you guys have seen, there's a number of documentaries on that, but the merger of McDonnell Douglas with Boeing is actually brought this culture of being extremely shareholder centric as opposed to be engineering and safety centric. And one can argue that almost killed Boeing because Boeing is.
Yes. Lots of people in the Seattle area have been talking about that for decades, that it destroyed Boeing's engineering culture. Yeah. And I think they're aware and they're trying to fix it.
Yeah, hopefully the couple of big incidents we had in the past decades will make them wake up a little bit and change that, because that's a shame. It was a very extremely, even from at my time from France, I know obviously Airbus was growing and everybody was trying to we were focusing on the industry to try to create a competitor, but the respect for Boeing was extremely high because engineering was wow.
When you talk about engineering culture, I'll just circle back to the previous discussion we had this morning about prompt engineering, which I think people attaching the word engineering to their title, barista engineering or whatever,
right,
is not good. And I think for folks that have actually studied engineering and have degrees in engineering,
totally,
there's a certain culture there that needs to be maintained. Otherwise, everyone's an engineer, so nobody's an engineer. So.
Right.
And don't even get me started, because I would even argue that software engineers, the engineer world to software people,
I agree. There's no such thing as software engineering, is there?
No. A great majority of them, they should not get this freaking title.
Do we remember?
Well, I don't think you can get a Bachelor of Science in software engineering. I don't think it exists. You can get a computer science degree. You can get.
Wasn't there some kind of action, a governmental thing? I don't know if it was the state of Washington, California, or whatever, but I thought it was directed at Microsoft, but it could have been directed at any software company. And this was, I don't know, a couple decades ago, where they're basically saying, you guys cannot call yourself software engineers. Engineer is a professional thing, and you get registered and certified by the state to be a professional engineer. And you guys are not engineers.
Well, it's a thing. Although I think there is an interesting movement happening around what I would call AI engineering. Like, I think at some point in the future, you will be able to get a Bachelor of Science in AI engineering. That'll be a recognized discipline. You'll see universities eventually offering those types of programs. But again, that would probably involve, electrical engineering and computer science and lots of kind of disciplines piled on top of each other. But that needs to be a more rigorous process. You can't just call yourself an engineer.
Right.
I don't know why people do that, but
yeah. Well, that's funny you say that, because I'm actually launching a new university in Grenada that will give people that degree, a Bachelor of AI engineering. And then I think we are going to add a master's program to that as well.
Rock University, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
And we only take Bitcoin. So
Bitcoin.
For an extra $99.95, you can get it.
Actually, Rob, pro advice, if you're launching the university, I'm actually going to go the total opposite way. Only accept payment in gold.
Smart.
Bullion.
Yes.
Very smart.
Or a stable coin that is backed by gold, but real gold, that you know where's the location.
And
there's a webcam that you can check that it's there.
I love it. It's a good thing we have bean counters on this show who know about all that stuff. That's great.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm not a counter. I can't count my own beans. So.
Okay.
Speaking of, I do need to bail, but
all right.
Go Hawks.
Yes, go Hawks. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go too. So you have to take us off, Rob.
Yes. So I don't know what the show was about, but we were here. We talked about space and mining and how feasible it is to do manufacturing in space. Dimitri is certainly concerned about how do we get those finished goods that we created in space back to Earth? These are great ideas. We don't want to squelch great ideas. We don't want bean counters squelching great ideas, because they often do. But we definitely need to think about science and figure out the feasibility of this stuff. But again, keep coming with those great ideas, young people out there. And obviously IoT is the core of all that stuff, as everyone knows, So thanks for joining us this week on this strange episode that's really chopped up. And, and also don't forget about Elevate Communities. Magic's going to happen there. And we'll see you next week. Adios.
Yes.
Ciao.